It's got to be done. It's got to be done well.
Of course, yeah. All right, for start, and here we go. Welcome to 42, Two Souls, One Journey, a raw and unedited look into our lives as humans. Based on the 21 grams experiment, a scientist by the name of Dr. MacDougall in 1907 concluded that the human soul weighs 21 grams. On this podcast, we will explore that no matter what our lives look like on paper, our souls journey similarly. Guys, I'm so excited to talk to this next person. It's like my special one-on-one time with her, and I get to do it even though I'm not there. In this episode, we're speaking to the embodiment of unconditional love, growth, and truth. I ain't your auntie, Renu Talwar. Hi!
I ain't your auntie.
Yeah, this bitch ain't your auntie, just so we're clear. Yeah.
Or I ain't your normal auntie.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you are somebody's auntie, which is your nieces, but I feel outside of that, you aren't anybody's auntie. Like, like you break that mold of what an auntie's supposed to be like. And even though, I mean, let's talk about this, because I feel like people know Renu now, right? Yeah. I was really lucky to sort of meet Renu over 10 years ago.
15, it was 15, 2005, 6, December, New Year's.
Oh my God. So over 15 years ago, when we didn't know each other, and it turns out that our lives are so connected in so many ways. We met in Goa for New Year's that year. You had... Renu was in India traveling.
I know we went to the same dance school. You lived right down the street from me. I'm like, how is it?
And I feel like we got to I remember you being after that time, I remember you showing up in my life so many places. Like, you read my first dance choreography that I ever did. I got to see you do your first burlesque dance ever. We've talked about love, life, loss, fashion, fun, and so lucky to sort of see who I think people would think, oh my God, this woman would categorize you in one way and then learn that you're something completely different. And even though your fundamentals have stayed the same, you've grown insanely, and you share that knowledge with all of us, which is so, well, at least with me, I'm so grateful for that because it makes my life better.
Oh, I'm glad, because you think about purpose in life. What is it? But to help those around you. That's it. No big thing. No, not for me. little things that add up too.
It's, what I feel like what I learned from you throughout this whole thing is that you choose love all the time. You have this innate ability, or not innate, but you have this great ability to just sort of sit in yourself and be like, okay, this is what's happening in life. This is what's happening with my people, and you choose love. How do you do that? How do you yes, there's days where you don't choose love, but you also don't, you sit in that. You're like, okay, I'm not choosing love right now. What's happening with me? And then you make sure you choose love. How did you get here? What?
They say the more you read nonfiction, the more empathetic you become. I don't know if that's the case. Like, when I was young, I used to read. Last 20 years, I haven't. I moved to Toronto and all hell broke loose. And reading got put by the wayside. But I think that sets a foundation, and I guess it's also, I only read books that were about love and goodness. And so I do believe, I remember thinking about it. Actually, when was the first trip to India? 93 that I did solo. And I remember getting harassed a lot. But I also remember meeting great people. And at that time, I literally, I sat and thought about it, and I thought, my choice is to leave India and say, it's a hellhole for women, and forget, or just look at all the other side that I get, which is the positive. When you have the negative, it seems to overshadow the positive. even though you might have a lot of positive, that negative thing sticks in your head. And I remember thinking, I've got to let the negative go, and I've got to focus on the positive, and I got to stay in India, and I'm going to look for the good in people and ignore the negative. I remember that so clearly in 93, 94 when I did my trip, because I was like, I was ready to leave. And I was like, figure out how you're going to deal with this.
Wow. It's, you know, what I love about the way you look at life is you, if you're passionate about something, you'll go and read everything and listen about it.
Yeah.
You'll do your research and so I feel like I execute experientially, where I'm like, I'm just gonna jump in and figure it out as I'm in there. You are so interesting in where you're fascinated about something. It could be as small as this. You'll go do all your reading in it. You'll dive, and then you'll experience it as well. You're like, I've done all my reading, I'm prepared, and then you jump in.
It. I think the reflection is a big thing. You got to reflect on you. Yeah, you got to reflect on your life. You got to reflect on what's going on. You don't have, I've never lived life with a goal, but I have lived with reflection.
Oh, Renu, that's a great quote about your life. It summarizes you in so many ways. It's so quintessential to who you are. So let's go back to, so Renu celebrated her 60th birthday last year at the peak of the pandemic, before the pandemic even started.
No, just before. I got all my celebrations in, and then the pandemic hit. It's like, no, wait, let her enjoy.
And I feel like you've earned it. So of course, like, yeah. So tell us about how Renu got here. Like, let's talk about Renu back in the 80s in Kitchener. You know, a brown Indian woman, girl living in a predominantly white Canadian place.
There were like hands and feet, the people of color in my high school of 1300.
Wow.
That's what I recall.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. It was, you know what? It was a good childhood. It was different than what most people's experiences, because I knew I was different. So there was always a bit of a wall between me and everybody else, or I felt there was. Right? Because there were so many things that they could do that I couldn't do just because of the cultural background. I ended up, you know, I was really shy and quiet and insecure in high school. And when it came to going to university, I didn't have the courage to leave home. I stayed home with my parents. But university life opened me up to so much. I met so many people from all over the world, and so many other Indians that had gone through the same experiences. So it was good to talk. That's when my wildness and my partying, and that's when it all came out. And it was, you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world. You know, the sneaking out of the bedroom to meet my friends, to go out partying, to say, you know, all of that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it. And I think that, you know what, I think that, you know, when kids are really resilient, and when you see something like that, when it affects you, I think hopefully it allows you to become kinder, because you kind of see other people. And you like, I think one of the things that I've always been working on is to look at something from the other person's perspective. And I think that helped. Like, that's what empathy, you know, but yeah, like to kind of be kinder and to go stop and go, oh, hold on, they're different than me, but that doesn't mean that they're bad, or that there's no value. That look beyond that.
Yeah, I know.
Which is why I have so many eclectic friends. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, you know, I think you create a safe space for people. Like, you're so about, like, I'm different. Like, you know, at least in my generation, there's people who are like, oh my God, I'm different. How do I fit in? How do I fit in? You were so great at being like, I'm different. And I accept it. And then you welcome that. Like, I feel like like any of your parties will range from someone as young as 19 to someone as old as 90, with such an eclectic's not the right word, but like different. Like, we're so different, but they're exactly like in the baseline, we're all the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the baseline, we're the same. It's that goodness that you look for. Above it, we're all who we are.
Yeah. It's that goodness what you look for. Just so we're clear, I feel like you have, like, the people that are drawn to you are drawn to the goodness that you emit that you put out as well. Like, you are like like you put all this really goodness and you, the acceptance, and like you make it, again, like you make it safe. Because I like, again, any of your parties, 18 to 100, straight, gay, anything in between, and people dress in anything and anywhere they want to, right? Someone can come in their pajamas, and someone can come in like a full regalia and still feel amazingly comfortable, which is why I think your gatherings are so epic. It's the best way to say it.
And it helps that it's in a small environment.
Right.
And everybody's rubbing shoulders and other body parts.
Yeah. but that's based on the fact you're so conscious about creating this space, right? Like, I feel like you're conscious of creating it for yourself, but that welcomes in a whole community of people. Like your ability to be so conscious about every detail. And like, I've been to your apartment and I know every detail is very thought out. It's not I'm just gonna do this. Like, there's millions of thoughts into that, which makes it so nice and amazing. Yeah.
My doors.
So Renu's apartment is full of art. And when you think there's already too much art, she's got more hiding somewhere. So I've been lucky enough to be shopping with Renu in India. And again, I think this consciousness level goes back. Like when you're looking for jewelry pieces, you are like, you'll sit with the artist, you'll talk about it, you'll find out what's special about each piece before you buy it. So I think you own a lot of things, but all the things that you own have a story behind them, have purpose behind them. Even like down to the rings you got made that had like filigree inside that told a story. Like I think you do that with every piece of your life, which is why everything around you is so, I'm gonna say the word magical. Like it's got a nice, great sense to it because you are conscious about honoring all the stories and allowing yourself to be a part of that, which makes it great.
Actually, that is. I look around. There's a story behind everything.
Which is why I love coming to your place and be like, "Oh, you want to do new art? Let's talk about it." I'm excited about digging through your stuff to find out where it came from.
Wait till you come back and see everything that I'm getting framed. I'm like piece by piece, 400, 500 at a time.
And you're budget conscious as well. Like, like, I'm just gonna do it. Like, you're so good at like, again, you're purposeful, conscientious of those words. I think of like love are the words I think of you. When I think of you.
Fun?
Sorry? Fun? Okay.
Did you miss fun?
Oh my God. Like, I feel like fun for me is a default. Like,
it is.
I feel like fun, boobs, and jewelry. Those are like for everybody, like, for me, it's more than that with you now, right? I feel like it's so much more than that with you that I get to, I'm so blessed to experience. So speaking about jewelry, talk to us about your necklace. And your earrings. What's your necklace though?
This necklace is, it's from a special place. It's a tribal necklace from Jaisalmer in Rajasthan, that district. So this is, this necklace totally represents India's kind of become a second home, and within India there's a couple of places that have become, and Jaisalmer from 2005, that first the first big long trip that I had in India, I was there twice, and the people that I met connected to, and I'm connected to this day. So this represents
And you're phenomenal. Oops, sorry, finish.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. I was going to start on the next one.
Okay, yeah. So before you go, and you're phenomenal at connecting with people. Like I've been to India with you and seen you connect with a sadhu baba on the side of the street. That people just like would even glance at once, but not just connect. You connected, and then you were friends with him. You used to email him. Like he became your buddy.
Call,
right? Because he didn't email.
I was his Canadian girlfriend.
But like that's I think the magical part about you, right? And that was like 15 years ago you did that. And you like I've seen you do that physically in person, but I've also seen you do it on a packed dance floor and look across it through and make a connection with somebody, and by the end of the night you are best friends with them, and you continue a connect. Like I think once you feel a connection with people, you continue it. Like you are again consciously.
I make a huge effort.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
I'll use Iqbal as an example here. Meeting him at Fungasia and talking with him just, because I liked the way he danced. And talking to him, I got a sense. And I literally stalked him. That's what he says, right? I literally stalked him until he agreed to become my friend. Chad's like, who's this woman and what does she want with you? I'm like, he's a good person. He's going to be my friend.
Okay, how did, what about, again, on a dance floor, you saw him, what about, tell me how you do that.
I can't even tell you what it was about Iqbal.
Right.
All I know is in talking to him, and that's happened with a number of people, and just talking to them and go, you're a good person. We're going to be friends, and I like the way you think, or I like who you are. So I forgot to shut something down. It's like, okay, yeah.
But again, I think you build this relationship and then you keep on, in the 15 years, I've had the privilege to sort of see you do that. Again, Sadhu Baba, your friends in Jaisalmer, and every being that you come across, you're like, okay, you're my friend. And then there's a basic, a basic level of, this is my commitment to it, and you stick to it no matter what. Even when you're in a fight with this person, you're like, here's my basic commitment to our friendship. Right. And you keep to that. Where did that come from for you? How?
That's been a part of me for as long as I can remember. Because even my friends, before the days of cell phones and this and that, when you used to write everybody's number in my phone book, they're like, how do you do this? How do you? Because I used to every once in a while think, okay, who have I not connected with, and go through my phone book and say, oh, I haven't connected with this person. I haven't, and make the phone calls to connect. Because it was all about, it was just whether best friends or good friends or acquaintances, it was all about the connection. And I don't know where it came from. It's just, it's been there for as long as I can remember. After university, during university days, because before that, I was shy, quiet. I was like, nobody talk to me, please. And now?
I would pay anything to see that. Actually, I feel like I got a glimpse of that woman or that shy person in Go At the first time, because
you would have absolutely
110%. I feel like our first meeting was the shy being, right? So I feel like I got a glimpse of her then.
Yeah. She still comes out. She still comes out at times.
And she's so cute. You want to hug her like crazy. I love her. I mean, I love all of her. So, you said it's something you've had in forever. And so during the pandemic, I think people have this perception that Renu, cool, young, cool brown woman on her own, living downtown, different than who we think a typical brown person is supposed to be like. But the pandemic, people, I don't know who, people who know this, but you're so family oriented. You're invested in your family as much as you are with your friends. The pandemic hit, and the first thing, as soon as your parents and your family did it, you just packed up and you left. You left everything downtown, and you were there for
3 months.
Months. I would have killed myself. But you didn't skip a heartbeat. You went. Right. But in the beginning, you were like, great, they needed me. There's something that comes from that. Your parents must have taught. There must have been something, I imagine.
My parents are amazing people.
Yeah, agreed.
They, they left India way back in 65, 56. We arrived. They've been the rock for everybody that's come through. They basically brought whoever of our family is here has passed through our household. We had an open door policy for not just family, but friends. People have come and lived with us forever. My mom, and dad, the first thing is, what do we do to help? That's, how do we, they're there. Both of them in different ways, but that is their thing about how do we help, how do we give back, what do we do? And that's how I grew up. That was it. It was it. It's you come to my place at any time, there's food, there's drink, there's whatever you need. There's talk, there's comfort.
Yeah. There, again, so much love. Your home, you are, again, you embody love. And this makes so much sense that Like,
Yeah, no, it came from that because I saw what they did for absolutely everybody that came through, and still do.
right.
I still do. Right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so, oh my God, like I love learning more about, every time I learn more about you, I'm like so, like it brings my heart joy because I'm like, okay, like here's how my tribe member Renu turned out. Like it's so nice to, like there's a clarity that comes with it, right? And even after 15 years, you're 6, and I still learn new things from you every day because you are regularly growing and expanding.
Truthfully, that's one of the things that for me, like, so when I was kind of Hindu,
We'll come back to that.
when I
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of had, when I had the beliefs, that you're the Eastern, that that it is reincarnation, this and that. My whole belief was, and it still is today, even though the package has changed. It is to be on this earth, to live and to grow as a person, and to become the best person you can be by the time you pass. And it used to be that, okay, so because I'm become the best, and then my next life I'll start from there and keep working upwards. But it was always to keep going upwards. And the fact that whole package has changed, and now it's like, this is it. Enjoy it. But still, the enjoyment comes from the connections and giving to people and all of that. And anything you read about people that in their old age, they all say the same thing. It's not about what you get and what you earn, and it's all about the people. And that's why when I travel now, it's not about sightseeing or anything. I mean, we've all got our phases. We've got to go through all of that. I went through that, but since 2005, travel has all been about the people.
Right.
The people either I'm going with or the people I'm going to see on the other side.
And you make sure that your people are invited all the time, no matter what, when, where you're going. You're this open door policy in your home is your open door policy in your travel. Is your open door policy with you. Like it's such a like, what hits my head right now is that I feel like we live in a world where we're like, okay, these are my people, I'll let these people in. You have somehow transcended that, where of course, when we first met, there was this like exclusive club, like Team Renu, or like we were on an island, right? And,
yes,
and we
had
were very
our own little island.
right? And I still think we do, but you've got a way of like, your island is so expansive. Like in the 15 years, seeing like that maybe this exclusive club existed, but it doesn't. Like
it doesn't.
It's at
there.
all.
Yeah, there are. They say, like, if you look at an audience, the people in your first row, second row, third row. I mean, people shift all the time, and you've got to be open to those shifts, right? Yeah. Because it just depends on what's happening in your life, and there's no animosity or something if I'm no longer in somebody's first, or they're not in mine, because something else is going on in life. But it's got to be a big group. The more the merrier.
And it's like, and you're so comfortable with the transition of it, like, right? You're like the ebbs and flows. Like I feel like people talk about ebbs and flows, but I've never seen it in practice until I've seen it with you. Like you're like, great, like, and I'm like, my life in the last couple years have been ebbs and flows, but you've been great at being like, great, wherever you ebb and flow into my life, I'm here. And it's been so like, I've never felt unwelcomed or, I mean, I'm happy to get called out on when I'm being a jerk or I make a promise I don't keep. But outside of that, you're like, great, you are ready to support me at any level of where I am. And I love you for that. And I see you do that with everybody.
You do that too.
Do I really? I was like, oh, okay. No, I'll take it.
I mean, hey, different parts of our journeys.
Right.
Right? Different stages. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
I'm way ahead of you.
I mean, I feel like not by much, because remember, you're the first person in my life that I looked at as an elder in my life, and I'm like, I mean, I don't view you as an elder. I view you as an equal friend. But you're one of the people who I'm like, oh, Renu's just the same soul who's a couple years ahead of me that I have the privilege of using as a guide to get there before, like, I want to get to where you are. Like, people are like, oh, I can't wait to grow up to be Renu. I'm like, I want to do it now. I'll fucking wait till I grow up. Like,
I wish I had done it way earlier.
I promise you, you're ushering a generation of us that are coming, that are like, okay, you know, you're teaching, you're guiding us already at this point, so that we're meeting you now, so that by the time we hit our 60 years, we hopefully will be, I don't know, different. Like, we would have been like, great, we experienced this because thank God we had a safe space and a loving space, and a place where we can just be each other. We can be different and be ourselves because you provide that for us. Yeah. So thank you for that, I guess.
No, you know, when nobody does anything that doesn't give back to them in some way. Right?
Right, 100%.
Right? So I give out, you give back.
Oh, I'm like blessed to do it. I'm happy to do it. Like, you know, I feel like when Naya and I broke up years ago, remember like being I don't know what the right word would be at that point. I just remember, I mean, being insecure, being like not quite sure where the camps lie, because, you know, at that point in your life, my only model was like, you break up with somebody, they're no longer in your life, you never see them again, that's it. And I remember like you being like, okay, great, we're Team Shavik, and I'm like, oh good, I got Renu. Because I thought I was going to lose a lot of people.
Well, you know,
I just think he's a better human being than I am at that point.
Well, you know, there was a big difference then too, because Nayad hadn't been around.
Right, thank God. I would have lost for sure if it was a competition.
I'm just saying that, so when Nayad hears this, he'll understand.
Right.
I would have been team both.
Yeah. And you're good at making sure you're like equal on these things. Like I've seen it with friends who break up. Like you're like, I'm going to give you both the same amount of support. Whoever comes, like wherever you are in your life, I'll be there for you. I'm so glad he wasn't around, because I would have fully had a panic attack if you'd have picked him. Just so we're clear. But now we love you. We're so happy you're in our lives. Across the board.
I know. I love him too. I mean, he's helped me come through some of my blockages.
Right. Yeah. And he's great that way. Like, I feel like, so I think about the people in that trip, in our India trip, right? It was like a bunch of Indian descent, like we all had Indian heritage, and like we're these like North American kids who just showed up in India, and like it was my first time. I feel like, I don't know if I think Renita might have been her first time. Like, it was some of our first times.
Yeah, I had been there for a number of months already.
Right.
But it was also my first time in 15 years, so it was a different world.
Yeah, and I remember
No, it's great. Like, it's just, you know, so then after that, you and Nahid, like, I became such good friends with you guys. Renita came and traveled with me to India, you know, a number of years ago. Me, Anwar just called me on the weekend, and we just had a couple of hours chat. It's been a while, and he just, you know, he needed his space. So I'm like, okay, when you're ready. So he just reconnected. So that was great. Sapna, we'll see when that reconnection happens. She's far away.
It's so funny, like, when you're ready, you use that term all the time. You're like, when you're ready, I'm here for you, right? Yes. And it sounds like it's so, growing up in your household, that would make, like, you know, like, we're here. This house is open for you as you come whenever you're ready. Speaking of Sapna, if I go to I'm going to Calgary for Christmas. So I connected with Renita and Sapna, and I sent her the Kathak videos, and I was like, girls, we need to do some Kathak. Here's something Renu sent us. And I'm super excited about, like, connecting with them, because that like, Kathak was one of the things that connected. Kathak is actually what brought all of us to India. Like, at that point, you were doing Kathak with Joanna, Sapna, Renita, myself, and Nahid.
Yeah, so, and it was because of Sapna that we all ended up in the same beach together in Goa.
Right. Yeah. So,
and the fact that my Jaisalmer connection didn't show. Marie, if you ever see this,
thank you.
Thank you.
So.
I had to get my digs in every once in a while. I'll send him this.
Yeah, you should. But I think your digs aren't digs. They're just like, FYI, you miss out on this really fun, loving time. Like, it's never like I feel like he did that with us in Bayshore as well. Like, okay, I want to go dancing. And then when we didn't respond, you're like, I'm going to call you specifically and ask you. And then you're like, I'll do it once and then I'll let it go. And then I'll tell you how much fun I had without you later. Which is the best revenge, FYI.
Exactly. The best revenge is to have a great time, to live your life the best.
Yeah, and you personify that throughout. Like, all right, so what's the funniest thing you've done today?
Today,
Mm.
pull out all my jewelry. It's all lying on my bed. To decide what is worthy of being worn for this podcast. So we didn't get around to my earrings. These are from my mom and dad. You know, they had gone to Arizona on one of their first trips and gone to a native reserve. And they saw this whole set with this great big jade necklace. And I couldn't find the earrings that matched this. And I'm like, no, these are perfect. You can't really see them, but that's
Nice.
so that was the funniest thing. Like right now, I got to go back and put every piece of jewelry away because it is literally all in my bed, and you know how much I have.
Yeah. I love shopping in Renu's jewelry drawer because one, it's like it could be costume to real gold, and Renu's like, I love you. I'll let you borrow it, but we'll keep a track of how you have to return it back. Like again, you're so great about being like, here you go. Let's watch for. Yeah, she's got so much. Again, but I think also your jewelry is so conscientious, right? Like. We just recently talked about your grandmother's jonjers, which are anklets, ankle bracelets from
I
your
almost thought of wearing
grandmother.
that, but that didn't sit well. I'm like, this, and plus this has that has meaning, but this has different meaning,
Right? Yeah.
Right? Like these are different.
Yeah, I mean, but like again, I think so. I guess jewelry, like again, conscious storytelling. Even your gym cuts from your grandmother have a story behind them, right? Like it's so again, the reason it does have a lot of jewelry, but it's not like I don't think of you as a consumerist. I think of you as like a conscientious shopper, even though you say you have a lot, of course, but it's not.
Yeah, but I also don't throw things out or recycle, so so I tend to keep a lot of things because I do. I guess some of it's sentimental, some of that sentiment dies after a time, and then until then, it stays with me.
And also, you're good at sharing this stuff.
But I am materialistic when it comes to jewelry. Let's just be very clear on that. But but it's not high-end jewelry. I am just as happy with crystal. In fact, I'm happier with crystals than I am with diamonds because then I have to worry about it. So.
It's so like I know you're saying. I feel like you get materialistic with jewelry, but you're like it's shareable. Like I feel like there's nothing I can. And I guess I know I said it. I feel like even though I feel like I said in a different spot, but I feel like I don't because I've seen you do this with everybody. Like it's like I've come and worn your bustiers. I've worn like I have access to anything in your closet, and I just take it. And you're like great, like but you're like that with everybody. You're like oh, we have an idea. Here's a wig. Like you're happy to share. So even though it's consumerist, for me, it doesn't feel consumer. It feels like you're shopping for all of us. So that we don't have to.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Yeah, I'll take it. Me too. So one of the things that I love about you is this idea that like you find something fun and you're like, okay, let's do it, let's execute it. And I feel like in the last while, like we've done like, so we did that video for Akela.
Yeah.
But you're like, where did this excitement come from? This idea that like if someone's like, it's not even like simple. Like I feel like someone's like, listen to this. You're like, no, here's a grander vision, and here's how we can all be a part of it.
Yeah.
Where does that come from for you? Like where, and did you always have it?
Maybe that's just that's where some of my creativity comes out.
Oh.
Right. I also I kind of always have looked at at a bigger picture that rather than just a small little bit, like what's the bigger picture around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of go, maybe, yeah, everybody's got ideas. I just come up with ideas.
Yeah, but ideas, and then you rally a team behind it, and then you're like, let's execute it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like,
Yeah.
maybe that's your
Oh
project
no,
management
but
side.
I've got a great team around me.
I don't want to doubt that, of
Creative people
course.
like you.
Right.
That will also take it and go, yeah, let's do that, right? I think a lot of the people around are it's like, yeah, let's explore it. Why not? Because everybody's exploring their own lives, and it's like, let's go for it.
I feel like I was like, yes, let's go for it, but you also make it safe for us to go for it, right? Like, I mean, we're just gonna say this. I feel like we've talked about stuff from like basics to like polyamory to anal sex to like things that I would never talk to my parents about or like feel like I would even verbalize. But with you, I feel safe enough to do it. And we talk like we've gone into in-depth stuff about our lives.
Yeah.
But I think you have a team, but you build a safe environment for that team to come and do it. So we feel safe around you. So we are happy to execute.
Yeah, like Shaz used that term too, right? He said that when he started go-go dancing, and if he saw me in front, he felt safe. And I was like, that was like, this is the second time now within this short period that I've been told that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Well, now you know.
I think, and I guess that comes from the loving, accepting, non-judgmental
Right.
side, right? One of the things is, like that all comes together with, empathy, looking at somebody, why would they be doing this, and not being judgmental about it because it's just their process and a journey at this time. I don't know. Again,
Yeah.
You're making me think a little too much. I don't know where some of this stuff comes from, because some of this stuff has been there. It's been a part of me, and it's also been a part of me, again, that I want to grow.
Right.
That's the other aspect. Like when I say reflection, it's like there have been many times that I've watched people and thought, I like this aspect of their personality, or I like what the reaction is that other people give. How do I get there?
Oh, that's such a great piece of advice, I feel like, to give people who are like, future generation of people who are coming up, who feel different. Like, we're in a world right now that it's hard to, there's so much loss, there's so much, especially 2020, so much loss, so much grieving, so much expanding ourselves outside of our comfort zones and boundaries. Yeah. So to look, I think, to use the Renu method of looking for the good in people.
I kind of just think, and then you experiment. I remember experimenting years ago with everybody that was drunk. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to act drunk. I'm not going to get drunk. I'm just going to act drunk and see, or I'm just going to be really friendly and smiley with everybody and see what reaction that gets. And when you get positive feedback from strangers saying, or wanting to come and talk to you because you've got this openness about you, you're like, I got to do this more often. So I remember doing those experiments when I was in my 20s, like, okay, and just watching people. I'm like, oh, she got him to do that. Okay.
So we live in a world of perfectionism, right? And I feel like there's when you experiment, there's a chance of failure. What would you tell someone who's like afraid to experiment because they are afraid of failure?
Oh gosh. You cannot let fear stop you from anything. The minute you start doing that, the walls start closing in on you. You got to keep pushing your boundaries. Otherwise, those walls are going to come right in and crush you. And you're going to be living a life of, in my terms, miserable, alone, and not, and I would think bored out of your mind, because if you don't try new things, how do you learn new things? Right. And if you don't even go close to something that makes you fearful, as I said, when the walls close in you find that you can't even get as close as you could before, because now just take, maybe first time you could walk 10 steps, but the next time you could only walk 8 because you can't, because that 10 steps becomes your boundary, or the 6 steps, and then the 8 steps becomes. So that's what I mean by the walls closing in. that if you don't keep pushing and fighting fear, like when I would think about things, I'm like, why am I not wanting to do this? And it would be, I'm like, oh, I'm just nervous. I'm scared what people are going to think of me and this and that, or it's just going to be really tough. I'm like, if it's fear, I did it. If that was the only thing stopping me,
Right.
I did it.
That's so, like, so two things come out of this. I feel like where our souls connect is that, like, in my 30s, when I was like, if this makes me scared, I'm going to try it, which is how Malika and drag happened, which is how you came into my life and stayed in my life. And the other thing is this idea that your first instinct is fear, but you're like, it's not fear. It's more than fear. And you, like, your science brain was like, let me explore that a bit more, because fear could be scary, but anxiety, like, if you dig a little deeper into it and you break it down, that it's not just fear, you can actually attack that part, and that part is more, it's easier to attack the small part than this fear part. Which brings you to this space.
That's an analytical, reflective side, I guess, that says, hold on, stop. And I think I can pinpoint actually when I might have started thinking along those lines. It's my dad, and I remember we were out for a walk, and we were talking marriage, because
all brown people should be married by this point. Yeah. Especially a female, right?
And I remember saying that I need to grow. I need to do this. I need to do that. And one of the things that I really want to do is I want to travel on my own. So that's part of because I think that I would really grow and learn a lot. And you keep stopping me. You stop me from doing that. And he said to me, no, I'm not accepting that, Lane. He said, you have done everything you have wanted to do. This thing you're not doing because of us. You're blaming us, but it's your doing. And I clearly remember that talk, and I'm like, he's right. He's right. And so I've been using them, so I can't use them anymore. And that's when I took my first solo trip. I was like, okay, I just got to do this.
What I love about your dad is that, like, that tough love sounds like when you give me tough love. It's like, here it is. Let me wrap it up to you. And then you have no choice but to move forward with it. So our time is up. Our retainer time is up. I mean, I know. We'll do, like, I feel like for this podcast, it's up. We'll do a series 2, 3, 4. Like, hello. I love my Renu one-on-one Renu time, and it's an excuse for us to keep doing it. All right, so to wrap this up, I'm going to give you one word that you're going to give me one word back. So I'll throw a word at you, and then you just whatever comes to your mind right away.
Okay.
Renu.
Me.
Love.
You.
Dance.
Oh, life.
Family.
Oh, that's again love.
Travel.
Friendship.
Jaden.
So can I? My sweetheart.
I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy day to share as we bask in the love of Renu. And I'll see you bitches next week. Thank you, Renu. I love you.
Love you too. Take care.